Hello everybody and welcome back to the AOR PC GT3 Elite League on Project Cars 2. It's already the final race of the season, round 6 out of 6 of Season 8, the first season on Project Cars 2. Obviously a shorter season than usual because it's the first season. And yeah, it feels like it's flown by after the 5 previous rounds that we had. This time though, for the season finale, we are at Autodromo Nazionale Monza, the classic Italian circuit where we're going to be doing 33 laps of racing plus the one formation lap preceding it. The weather is overcast, although it doesn't really matter too much because it is a very late in-game race time. You can see, as I'm going to skip on to the track view, that it is pretty damn dark. Just looking at the pit lane at the moment. At the end of the practice session, got of course qualifying coming up very shortly. But as always, I am Fizzly, and joining me in the commentary box for tonight's action again is King-Kodiak.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers, and sisters. This is indeed the closing round of the inaugural season for Project Cars 2. We have our champion. He's back in the pit lane, but there he is. Vernox has already claimed the top spot in this season. He is the champion. He cannot be contested. However, there is a very, very close battle for quite a number of positions behind him.
Yeah, very true. And while we're waiting for qualifying to start, we might as well bring up the standings actually. So I'm going to do that right now. So you can see on the driver standings, after 5 out of the 6 rounds, that Vernox has indeed clinched the championship, 40-point gap for him, but behind that it is very close. Yorkie and Johan in the battle for second in the championship, separated by just 2 points there. That is going to be very interesting. Also 2 points between Popsu and Maisie in 4th and 5th. There we go, Testo and Stu are relatively close together. James, Andrex and Nismo only separate about 5 points there for 8th. And then 3 drivers on 41 points, 11th, 12th and 13th. That is Jeff Warntower and Wycombs. Unfortunately, Wycombs is not actually racing today though, so that's going to be between Jeff and Warntower for that position. And then you can see as well, from 14th down, there's multiple drivers close for position. Nick Meadow, Rhaegar, Andreas Hayter, Tipple and Claessens and Goldfather Shift. A few of those though are not anymore racing, unfortunately. At the bottom of the championship, interestingly, is Perry Gronstra, who actually has scored 57 points this season, but after his decision to change to the Ginetta before the previous round, he has dropped all his points. So that is what you have to sacrifice to change your car mid-season. And so he's there at the bottom. Didn't score any points last week, so maybe he can score some today. Morvik as well has decided to change his car for the final round, dropping the 5 points that he had, so he's going to be down on 0 as well. And he's changed to the Lamborghini, which I am very, very happy about. So it's going to be named 2 Lamborghinis on the grid. Quick look before we get back to the track at the team championship as well. That is actually not right up yet. We got 5 Aces Esports and Yorex Racing there at the top, separated by 37 points. It's looking good for 5 Aces with Vernox and Nismo. They have a solid gap. It's going to be take some really poor results from them and some really good results from Yorkie and Andrex for that to swap around, but it could still happen. And then you can see, especially in the middle there for 4th, EVR, Visceral, Roadrunner, Forza Ferrari and Team Momentum. That is 5 teams separated by just 7 points. It's going to be hard for us to keep track of it, I think, because
just a bit
during the race we're not really always thinking about who's in which team and stuff, but yeah, that's something to keep an eye out for as well. So now, let's head back to the track as qualifying has begun.
21 drivers have joined the session, and I'm very glad to say all of them were in at the beginning of the session. We should have no one stuck with the horrific timing bug unless somebody joins the session from this point on, which if they do, then they'll have to sit at the bottom. We will condemn them to be last because the screen says so.
Indeed, yeah, that's great news. That has not happened all season.
No, it hasn't.
All drivers in the field actually appearing on the results where they should be, so fingers crossed that it stays that way. As you mentioned, 1 drivers in the field. I think that's about the same as we had last week. Obviously that then dropped out throughout the race, at Laguna's sake, as people ended up DNFing. Oh god, Claessens with a very poor first corner there, starting his first qualifying lap.
I was hoping to kind of do an on-the-spot run with Claessens so he could guide us around the track, but no, he of course goes and throws it too deep into Rettifilio as we come around at Curva Grande. Next chicane is the Darrogia. And I will massacre the Italian for it. I do wholeheartedly apologise. The Mercedes being a little bit slow to slow down for the initial part of that, but having a lot of grunt to deploy on the very many straights that this circuit has. Lesmo 1. Let it run out wide. Then down another gear for Lesmo 2. And then stamp on it all the way along to the Varianti Ascari as they now come under the bridge. It'll be down 2 gears into Ascari. Pick the brake point, get the car settled down. Didn't quite hit the apex on the entrance. Hog the apex on the right. Just kiss the one on the left. Don't run out too wide. If you run onto that tarmac area on the outside, it will invalidate the lap. Now down to the Parabolica. He's got a fair bit of traffic ahead of him, but it's not really going to upset his time in any way, shape or form. Slightly cambered, but it can tempt you to run a little bit too deep. There is runoff out there, but as far as qualifying is concerned, you will invalidate your lap if you wander too far. Pretty clean on the final part of the lap for Claessens, and that is a lap of Monza.
Yes, indeed, and that lap is going to put Claessens absolutely he's gone 5th in the end, and then immediately down to 6th as the car behind him completed the lap as well, and then went straight back to the pit lane. I don't know, KK, if you saw during his onboard there are some weird shadow boxes.
Yes, I did. They were weird for me, and I had that last week, and you didn't, which was interesting.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I had very weird, kind of weird boxy shadows leaping out of the ground as well around the Lesmos somewhere. Perry Gronster currently holding the top spot in the Ginetta. Surprisingly, I didn't peg the Ginetta for being that hot around here, but only 3 people below the 148. That is Perry Gronster, Nick Mido in the lemon Lambo, and Morvik in the black Lambos. So interesting. Not the cars I rated actually to be towards the top, but the recent patch we had a couple of weeks back has really shaken up the order, shaken up how these cars feel. And that's what actually caused Perry to actually switch from his Mercedes to the Ginetta. So it could well be that the Mercs aren't as strong. Popsu sticking his Ferrari into second with that 147.7, 4/10 behind Perry Gronstra. Again, surprising me. I'm expecting really to see these times come tumbling now. I'm looking at the bottom of the timing board and concerned that they're still on 0, but I am. Whoa! That's Colonel McCoy going way too wide on the exit of Parabolica. We'll see if that actually invalidated lap. I thought it did, but I'm not 100% sure. Andreas, he jumped back to the pit, so I would take it that it did. That's not how you.
Goodness.
That's not how you.
That's amazing. That's beautiful donuts there from Colin McCoy, as he didn't actually get to set a lap before, as you said. So yeah, he's having some interesting times in the pits there.
Yeah, his car, moonwalking backwards into the pits for me. As Johan coming down towards the Parabolica. He's just jumped around. I think it's Morvik's Lambo there. It's actually difficult to see through the lights. The Ferrari sporting the very fetching yellow headlights. Yellow themed headlights. Perry's actually still out on track, interestingly. James! No, sir. I actually went to click on Perry's name and it gave me James, so I was a bit surprised there. James in the blue Ferrari has just topped the top. Try that again. Topped the timesheets by 2/10. Yorkie in the top. Yeah, not the centres I was aiming for. 147.4 by the N6 of Yorkie. Ooh. Where is Vernux? He's not having a good time. He's down there in 14th. He's 1.7 down, but you can assume that he's made a mistake, same as Claessens did. And interestingly, Claessens is still on 0. We saw him set it up, and he's still struggling with the Restafilio. As you see, Popsy just come past him in the plain Ferrari. Now, I wonder why Claessens' time is still on 0. Because he definitely didn't join session. Well, if he did, I didn't see it. Johan should be crossing the line now at the red Ferrari, and hasn't set a time. So maybe we do have people stuck on 0 after all. That'll be a bit of a shame, but I was convinced they were there at the beginning of the session. I'm sure we had 21 when the session started.
Yeah, I am quite sure as well. But it does seem that at the moment, at least, Claessens, Colin McCoy, although he did mess up his lap, so maybe not. But at least Claessens and Johan might have that glitch with the timings.
That's a big gaggle of cars.
That's a big. I have to say, I'm loving those yellow headlights that the Ferrari and actually the BMW.
The BMW as well. Yeah.
That's looking really, really good there.
As Mickersby drove Ferrari at the back there. Junior's not having a good time either. The black McLaren. Stu's not far at the timing either, so maybe the McLaren is not so strong here. As I didn't pick the Ginetta to be anywhere near the top, I've thrown my predictions out the window already. So Stu there in 13th, 148.1. Not a great deal of spread top to bottom, realistically speaking.
Yeah, I did hear that Gronstra had actually done a time in the 46s with his Ginetta, I think.
Good Lord.
In the practice, but...
46?
With another car, but he had done some kind of 46. Whether it was in the Ginetta or not, I do not know.
And if you ever needed convincing that aliens exist, voila.
Exactly. James, though, currently leading him by 2/10 in the session, and then Yorkie a further 10th behind. Johan, as you mentioned, we have no clue where he is at the moment, so it's hard to keep an eye on that.
Colonel McCoy's put a time on the board, so we know he's not stuck in the timing bird. Let's just see Johan crossing the line. We'll have a look at classes in a minute. And Johan is set. Nothing. So either that was invalid or that was his outlap. Let's see where Claessens is. He is coming around Parabolica. No, that's Gavin Grande. So he's probably at the beginning of his lap. That is the one and only Ginetta of Perry Gronstra. Already ahead of him. So he's got a bit of traffic to deal with as well. Hopefully they're not going to... Yeah, a bit of a flash of the lights there. Did see somebody else doing that as well, just to indicate you can get out of the way I'm coming. Oh, worn tyres stuck in third with the Ferrari. 147.4, still 3/10 off. So it's Ferrari, Ginetta, Ferrari, BMW, Ferrari. Oh, Vernux has actually jumped up to 5th, I hadn't realised. And Hesto, look at that. Every other position is a Ferrari, but the top... so we've got Ferrari, Ginetta, Ferrari, BMW, Ferrari, Mercedes, Ferrari. Oh, Lemon Lambo thrown into the wall.
What have you done, Nick Meadow? Oh, he's messed that up. That's the windshield's pretty broken there on the Lemon Lambo.
And then Andrex rounding out the top 10 in his M6. And the top 10, actually the top 12, just over a second apart. Literally 0.002 of a second is Rigor in his Mercedes.
Well,
that's impressive. That is pretty close.
It's pretty close indeed. And you got 4,000 separating Stu and Cole McCoy there in 13th and 14th at the moment. So some closely contested places throughout the field at the moment. One time the only man in the pits actually, but there's still time for him to come back out, I think, and set another lap. Oh, maybe not. What?
Yeah, 4 minutes left.
If he comes out just now, then he should still have time. Oh no, actually, he has more time, doesn't he? Because you can now complete your lap if you start it.
Well, Johan has set a time. He's in 13th, 148.1. So the only person that hasn't put the time on the board is Claessens. So he is still stuck behind Perry Gronstra. So again, he must have invalidated that lap, because last time we looked at him, he was in this exact same position, just to come through the Rettivilio. The Del Loggia. I always get those two the wrong way around. He's now come through the Lesmos and still has Perry Gronstra already ahead of him. I wonder if he's actually picking up a tow from the little Ginetta.
Maybe he's trying to, or maybe getting some racing line tips from
could be
in second place.
Could well be. I mean, these two have crossed swords many, many times in the Elite League here for Project Cars and AOR. So they will be very used to sharing the same bit of tarmac as we saw. Oh, that's too wide. That's too deep going into Ascari. Has he held on to it? We'll see. He may have invalidated that lap again. He's backed out of it.
Oh, yeah.
So
Claessen's having a nightmare here.
Yeah. I mean, he got really deep. Or it looked like it from this perspective. And just got all out of shape. And that's probably going to be it. We're seeing some people return to the pits. Colin McCoy, Relo, and Andreas Hayder return to the pits. That's they get back out straight away. They might have enough time to get another lap in. There's the Lemon Lambo of Nick Meadow. Oh, Nismo's just jumped up to... I thought he just... Oh no, beg your pardon, it was Andrex that jumped up to 9th position, so he dislodged Nismo. Nick Meadow in the Lemon Lambo. James is back in the pits then, so he is relying on that 147.1 to be the top time. Can Nick Meadow improve on 147.8? Not yet, at least. And if he is on...
It It's very close, isn't it? You got to top 14 within less than 9/10 of a second.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
At one point in the season, we had the gap between first and second like 5 or 6 tenths.
Yeah, absolutely. Nismo's just jumped up to third. Wow, Nismo's having a great day here. Hesto! Oh, Mercedes getting up to 25 thousandths of a second off the pole spot for the Blue Merc. I bet that's made James a little bit nervous, so much so he's actually come out again. And Hesto's parked it, I'm not surprised. And that, I suspect, who's that in the background? Rito? Yeah, that's Rito that's decided that he's not going to improve. And that is going to be the end of Hesto's day as well. He will not have time to complete a lap. Junior's in the pits. That's an unfortunate starting position for him. He's down in 20th. Where is Claessens? Is he in a position? Yes, around Lesmo 1 and 2. So we will see if he is able to set a lap this time around. He obviously backed off from where he got it wrong at Ascari last time. He's heading down to Ascari now, and we'll see if he overcooks it again. There's that weird shadow bug again. Nope, he keeps that nice and clean. Stays close to the apex on the inside. Kisses the one on the outside. Oh no! Is that Andrex that's facing the wrong way?
See the Andrex to Yorkie.
Yeah, there's Andrex. Oh dear, that's not the way of doing that.
He still has time to start another lap, but that's going to ruin his tires a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. But they won't get too hot in the dark, so... Oh, that looks very deep! Yeah, that's not close to the apex, but then there are a few different choices on how to take the Parabolica, I find. So he may have opted not to stay close to the apex. He's going to cross the line. He will have time to do another one if he so chooses. Claessens, still no time at the board.
Johan, though, has gone up to third just now, and the top 3 are within less than a 10th of a second. And Johan still has time to improve, actually. James should still be on the track as well. Gronstra is in the pits, Nismo's in the pits, one tire in the pits, but Yorkie still going there as 7th, only 3/10 off the pole. We'll just see if he can improve as well. But yeah, I think James might have been around about the last man to cross the line.
I think if that's Andrex behind him, it is. I think Andrex is actually on a lap. Anyone behind him will no longer be able to do so. So I'm just. I know I keep switching to Claessens, but I just want to see, one, if he's caught on the timing bug, which he shouldn't be, and two, what time he's going to set. And a little bit deep into the second Lesmo, but into the first Lesmo rather, but hanging on to it. Second one is a little bit cambered, but that does tempt you to push it a little bit too hard. Vernux is down in 9th, our newly crowned champion. Is and he's only half a second off the pole, to be fair.
Yeah.
Looks like he'll be the next. Is he going to be the next man to cross the line, I wonder? It's on board with him. Who's weird?
Not looking too fast, is it? Not sounding too fast anyway, maybe.
No one ahead of him, so let's keep an eye on the times for Vernux. And it is... Crosses the line, does he improve? He does not improve. 1:47.6 is his time, and he will start 9th. I doubt he's going to be very happy about that. Here comes James. Was that Claessens coming to the line? It is. I thought I heard a Mercedes roaring. Let's see if that big old black Mercedes is able to get off the bottom spot and get a time at least on the board. And answer is no. So either he has set a time and he's stuck in the timing bug, or
I'm imagining he's invalidated all of his laps. I would be very surprised.
I'd be surprised. Yeah, I think he's. I think Claessens. In which case he will be the only one stuck in the time bug, and that is it. Everyone else is in pits. Qualifying is officially done. Your positions are now confirmed as you see them. James taking the pole spot.
Oh, and James actually improved on his time there.
Oh, he did!
Nearly into the 46s. No driver actually did go into the 46s, but James very, very close at 37 thousandths off, and he's got pole by just over 1/10 of a second from Hesto in the Mercedes behind him. So Ferrari had a Mercedes, and then another Ferrari with Johan in a third, which is crucial for that second place championship battle, of course, with the Yorkie is down in 7th on the grid. Between them is Gronstra, Nismo, and one tire. Then you got Nick Meadow in the Lemon Lambo in a solid 8th place on the grid, actually. Ray got ahead of Vernux, who got pushed out to 10th.
Oh, the last, yeah.
The championship leader, which is no pressure on him, having already secured that. And then Popsu, Andrex, Movic, Jeff, Cole McCoy, Stu, Rillo, Mixby, Andreas Hayter, and Junior rounding up the grid. And then Claessens potentially somewhere in there if he's caught a time.
Well, we are about to see. So if Claessens is anywhere other than last, and he is, he's in 16th. So Claessens, unfortunately, is stuck in the timing bug. He's qualified 16th, as you can see. That is very frustrating. I didn't see him leave and reappear, but I guess he must have done. At least there's only one driver stuck in the timing bug this time, as opposed to... yeah, it is. It is. So in this period of time now, people have a few moments to consider their lines and what have you, and any last-minute setup changes they want to apply. And if anybody has had a connection problem, then of course that is going to delay us a little bit. We will see if that's the case, if anybody magically vanishes from the grid, and then we will get our parade lap underway, and then this final round will go good and proper.
Indeed. So obviously a reminder of the championship battles to look out for. Johan Yorki for second. Popsu could potentially get involved in that as well. He's got a 13-point gap up to Johan, 15 points up to Yorki. Unfortunately, Maisie in 5th in the championship is not racing. He's got a kid that he needs to take care of. So I think
good on you, Maisie. Hope everybody is well.
Good on you indeed. Hope you are doing fantastically awesome. He was, of course, he's been good and consistent throughout the season so far. Sitting 5th, remains to be seen if that will drop a bit though, with him not being here. Especially Hesto is 6th, qualifying in 2nd place. He's looking on course to pick up some good points here from this race. And Stu as well, not too far behind. And then, of course, we got James, Andrex, and Nismo close together. Let's see if they are close together on the grid, actually. Andrex 12th, Jeff 14th, and Nismo is 5th, yeah, so Nismo is looking best out of those three.
Yeah, it's a stunning effort from Nismo. I mean, he's, of the two 5/8 drivers, he has been struggling to keep up with our newly crowned champions, so he'll be very pleased to be starting in that 5th position as they wind their way through the rest of Filio. For those unfamiliar with the starting procedure, it is a rolling start for the GT3 races we do. The leader will lead the field around at, that looks a little bit quicker than 80 miles an hour or 120. I'm not very good in thinking kilometres. It's 120 kilometres an hour. A little bit quicker than that, but not too bad. You can see people in the background getting last minute heat into the tyres and brakes until they reach the formation point, which is just before Ascari? Or just after Ascari?
Just after, I would imagine.
Just after, I think, yeah. So then they will form in the 2x2 line, and they will reduce their speed to 50 miles an hour or 80 kilometers an hour. And once they cross the acceleration point, which is before the grid starts, basically, that looks rather quick for James is getting a bit too excited, but he is weaving. He does realise that the race hasn't actually started yet.
It would be quite funny if he thought the race actually had started. I was starting off, not quite
yeah.
We would have managed that. I guess that would have been a restart, but it looks good so far, assuming that he will now start slowing down, which he does indeed.
Which he does,
and this
yeah.
is the point where they all should start lining up into 2x2 formation at a bit slower pace, and then soon we shall get the race going here. Just a quick hello to everyone who is in the Twitch chat as well. Browski with an interesting drinking game there. Feel free to try it. Or not. So Browski, of course, our GT3 Season 1 champion, which he probably loves being reminded of. First ever one. That was the last time we had a 6th round championship as well, just like the one we have here. Of course, you'd imagine that the next season, in a few months' time, will be a little bit longer, whether it's going to be 8, 10 or even 12, that remains to be seen, of course. More news on that coming soon. But now let's focus on the race at hand, the final round of Season 8 at Monza. It's down to James to put his foot down whenever he wants from this point until the start line. Let's see where he goes. And here we go, the race is underway. James with a good launch, and has to react well there in 2nd place, despite having to look to the right out of his side mirror to react, and is looking like he's going to hold on to that place with a Johan looking to the inside, maybe braking a bit late. Oh, and Johan might have brake too late, very close to hitting James. Hester holding around the outside of the first corner, and then Johan around the outside of the second corner to take 2nd place. Impressive start there from Johan. Gronstra is in 4th still. Nismo holding on to 5th as well. But battling with the Lemon Lambo was still remained in P8 where it started, and Gronstra very much under pressure from the yellow Ferrari of Nismo got into the second chicane here. Hester again coming back at Yuan actually for second place as well on the inside into the chicane and he's taking it back. So that is some great battling at the front and actually the top five at least remaining where they started.
It does look like it's fairly clean throughout the grid. I'm not seeing any massive gaps between anybody, so no one's had any major incidents so far. Hesto doing what he can to fight off that ever persistent Ferrari. But he does look like the Mercedes is able to deploy that big old engine, but Johan is not letting that one go at all as they fly down towards the Scurry. Hesto is going to have to hang on to the inside. James is enjoying a bit of peace and quiet up the front there. And indeed, Johan had a great drive from the second Lesmo and has got the position back, but can he hold on to it? He's got Perry Gronstra right with him as well, on board with the Ginetta. Oh, Johan had a problem. I wonder if he had a slowdown warning because he is falling through the field. Yeah, he's just suddenly slowed down and we didn't see a particular spin or anything. He could have had a half spin. I suspect he had a slowdown warning as Yorkie goes through into fifth position. The BMW is going to get cut.
The lemon lamp was up on the Ferraris. I think it was one tyre was dropping down the field as well with potentially another car involved. Didn't see who. Was that a Black McLaren?
Yes, Junior.
Backwards as well. Oh, there's been a three-way crash there, I think, and it's not turned out well. Nick Meadows dropped 5 positions from 8th down to 13th, so that's a bit of a shame to see the stream in the foreground there by the looks of it. Not sure who that was. It might have been around where York is. Oh, and Gronstra is battling with Yuan as well, of course, recovering from that slowdown as Yorkie getting involved as well on the outside through Curva Granda, which basically is curved straight, of course, full throttle through here, just keeping their foot in until the second chicane. Can you know that always moving a little bit, attacking Gronstra while defending from Yorkie? That's not going to work. He might have to give that one up. And Yorkie goes up to P5. Incredible action here in the first few laps.
Johan got completely boxed in there. He had Yorkie on his left and was gaining on Perry Gronstra in the Ginetta, but couldn't do anything with the pace. He couldn't go left because there was a BMW there. He couldn't use the power forwards because there was a Ginetta there. And look at the gap that Perry Gronstra's already got for himself. It's only about about 8/10 actually between the two. But,
of course, this is the battle for second place in the championship. Yorkie versus Johan. Those are the two battling. Oh no, Yorkie slowed down now.
Oh no.
Doesn't ever slow down as he's let Johan go, and Popsu as well is taking the position.
Yeah, Popsu straight on Johan's case then. It's very easy to wander wide a little bit. I mean, the cars are very heavy at the moment. Perry Gronstra is right on Nismo's case as well. There you've got, that's Hesto, and the gap to James is now about 2 seconds or so. So James is really enjoying the fact that he hasn't got anyone all over his gearbox. Nismo is keeping the pressure on that blue Mercedes. Oh, you can see how that Ginetta is getting very twitchy. Popsu's lining up a move on Johan as well. That looks like it's going to be a done deal on the start-finish straight. It does depend on how much slipstream he was able to get. And he's not able to.
He's revving out. I can hear the engine there. It's not going to get any more power out of that one, but he's still got the inside line into the braking stone. Johan though, a bit wiggly there, but it breaks later. Hall is around the outside, and defends really impressively. Unless Popsu can get a better exit, which it looks like it just about has, and he's going to still be battling against Gronstra also in the background there. Is on the attack on Nismo. That's for third position. So Perry Gronstra is really getting to grips with that lovely little Ginetta. He really had to get out of that. He was looking to try and brake later, but didn't have the line he needed and had to get out of it to avoid a collision with the Ferrari. And look at that, just in the background, it's the two M6s. Oh, big wobble for one of the Mercedes drivers.
I'm assuming this. Oh no, it's not Classes. He's actually right at the back of the field. So he might have been involved in that incident we saw. Stu had to come into the pit. Stu's out! We've lost the black McLaren! But what I saw earlier was I thought it was the two M60s. I beg your pardon, it wasn't. It's Andrex and Rigor. I beg your pardon, actually Yorkie, as you can see, is just disappearing out the shot there. It was actually they were two white cars with headlights as well. The headlights staring at me is why I can. Oh, Perry Gronstra's in trouble! Perry Gronstra's in trouble! He's lost it at the Scurry! He's falling through the field! Oh, that's going to be... Yeah, he had to cut the corner there. That was the safest route to do. I'd be surprised if he had a slowdown warning considering how slow he had to go. What a shame. He's down to 12th. He's going to lose more positions. That's Colonel McCoy right with him.
First game. How many times have we seen Gronstra have a problem in a relatively early part of the race, which forces him to do a comeback drive. It's at least the third time we've seen it this season. We saw it last week, we saw it in the first round at Imola, and now that we got a battle with a Lamborghini next to a Mercedes and a Ferrari looking to get involved as well. Nick Meadow going up to 9th actually after dropping down to 13th briefly, but it's to gain 4 positions back. He's going to be 3 wide into the first chicane on the 4th racing lap of the race, and the Mercedes backs out of it, but it's still side by side between Nick Meadow and Vernox there. The already crowned champion was forced a bit under the curb, was going to give him a bad exit and allowing Jeff to come straight back into the fight. And this is some incredible stuff right here.
Side by side through the first, through the Cava Grande. That Mercedes is just about losing out. But here again we see that boxing in effect we saw with Perry Gronstra earlier. Now this time the Lemon Lambo of Nick Meadow has actually jumped to the inside very early. That could have allowed Vernox to get through, but Jeff has actually capitalised. He's got through that particular part. Actually Vernox is a little slow. That's going to put him into the clutches of Nick Meadow. We've got 2 cars in the pits, Claessens and Perry Gronstra. Oh no, Perry Gronstra was in there a very long time. So Claessens, yeah, must have been. So he's had a big odd argument with the wall at Ascari, as we saw. Coming back up to the front, James, you can see, now leads by nearly 3 seconds. Nismo is really keeping the pressure on that Mercedes coming into Ascari, but couldn't get through that time. Behind them we see Johan and Yorkie. And Popsu, actually, that's a 3-way battle there. That's 4, 5 and 6, so it's still kicking off in several places through the field.
Yeah. It is indeed. What I'm liking as well is that all of the top 3, James, Hester and Nismo, have never won.
Penalty for Andreas Hayder. Beg your pardon, penalty for Andreas Hayder. What's he got himself? It's going to be a cut track, I would think. That's a second, yeah.
A grand total of 1 second.
Well done. Again, look at the gap there. That's just 2:10 separating the Ferrari and the Mercedes. Is this going to be an opportunity now for Nismo to try and throw one on the inside at the Rettifilio? He thinks about it but decides against it. It does seem that they're very nip and tuck at the moment. One's not able to get away from another. Let's get back to this 3-way battle as well as Yorkie, Johan and Popsu. Can't really see the other two from that camera angle. Johan is all over the back of Popsu at the moment. We'll see how they're able to fend one another off as they come through the Cava Grande. Oh, Warntire's not got himself a penalty. Oh, that's going to be close. Oh, he really had to hold on to that inside line. Can Popsu hang on to it? He's got the inside. Oh, that was so... And, oh, that's disaster for Johan. He had to back out of that. That's going to make... it's going to allow Yorkie to come through. Oh, it's still side by side. They come into the first Lesmo, and Yorkie rather did allow Racing Room. Still side by side. They're going to come into the second Lesmo. Touch on the grass there for the M6. Now Yorkie gets the position, but can he hang on to it as they come towards Ascari? There you see, just coming into the shot, that is Andrex and Rigor in the next M6 and Mercedes respectively. Let's see if Johan's able to attack back the... Oh! Problem! Oh, that's Nismo that spun it! Nismo has spun it. He's well into the Ascari. I'm not sure if he hit the wall or not. That is going to be disastrous for him. Oh, challenging for a podium. And now he finds... Or further up the podium. And he finds himself beached in the middle of Ascari. Now he's got back down again. And he's going to probably lose that position to Jeff.
As a champion, he has had 1 podium so far this season, but it was on course very much so for another one. And yeah, indeed, he does lose position to Jeff, his fellow Dutchman, going through.
And there's his teammate behind him.
It is indeed, yeah, very interesting. And for the first time this season, I would say that Nismo's actually looking faster than Vernox so far.
Well, we've got a few more penalties on the board. Warntire's got himself a penalty. A 1, a 4 and a 1. Oh, well, these are major racing impacting penalties. At the moment it would be, but I don't think they're going to stay this close for that long.
That would be surprising if they did. And Johan, though, he can't seem to find his feet really here, Johan. He keeps battling away, but he's not able to make the progress that he probably would have wanted there. Still stuck right behind the back of that BMW of Yorkie, and of course, as mentioned before, this is the battle, well, not only for the position on the track, but also for the position in the championship. Second place in the championship on offer between these two, only separated by 2, going into this race in Yorkie's favour, and now Juras looking to take it away from him with an outside move potentially into the Lesmos, but that's going to be very, very tricky indeed. Such a long right-hander. It's going to be a little bit more patient. He's going to try to brake later into the second Lesmo. That's also very tricky because there's not much of a braking zone, a very high-speed one there as well, if not quite as long as the first. So let's see if he can get any sort of good run into Scarlet. Surely he will. Look how close it is, and it's just about clearing that inside. Looked like Yorkie wasn't quite sure what way was going to go there to defend, and actually Johan again backs out of it, does not want to be side by side through there, which of course is going to save him some time, because you always lose time going side by side through all of those three corners. But still, Yorkie's ahead.
Well, in that shot, we've actually had the top 7, James right the way down to Rigor. As you can see there, the gap between Yorkie, Johan, Andrex and Rigor is only about 2 seconds between the 4 cars. Oh, and Johan, pick a name, the right name in a minute. Yorkie's gone very, very wide on the exit of the Parabolica. That surely is going to have the position to Johan side by side as they come over the line. But who's got the pace? It looks like the BMW actually has got the straight line pace over the Ferrari. Now that's not a sentence I thought I'd catch myself saying, but it does look like it's the BMW again go for the defensive move. Oh, that's going to be very close. Well played by both of them. That was a very brave move by Johan. Well defended, but you can't take that one away from Johan. That was a lovely move.
It was indeed, yeah. Well, like you said, the BMW had the straight, but in the braking zone, Johan was so much later, really brave on the outside, and again it looked like Yorkie was closing.
Andrex!
His teammate Andrex right behind him, and they're going to come together. No, Yorkie stays ahead, but definitely there's lost time as a result of his teammate suddenly getting really close, and again getting a really good exit there. I'm not sure Yorkie quite expected Andrex to suddenly get in the mix. He was probably fully focused on Johan for the past few laps, and suddenly he's got his teammate to worry about.
I'm not entirely convinced Andrex expected to be that close to his teammate either at that particular moment. That's given Johan the opportunity to start legging it away. You can see in the background as well as a 3-car chain forming there as Andrex now sizes up a move on Yorkie. Then I wonder if they may well just ignore team orders entirely and just fight each other. Well, why not? It is the final round of the season.
They are indeed.
Oh, side by side, well played by both of them to avoid contact. Oh, and you saw Yorkie just bounce off the apex. That's lost him the momentum, and Andrex has claimed that 5th position. Rigor has actually claimed the 6th as well. So Yorkie's lost 2 positions in the space of 1 corner. And behind them, you've got Vernax has actually made his way up to 8th. Jeff is right with him, though, trying to relieve him of that 8th position as they come into the Parabolic. The Mercedes on the inside. Ferrari's allowed the room. But is he going to be able to fend off that charging Merc? He's not going to have much fun on the outside of Parabolica. Can't really see much from there. Let's try that one. There we go. Absolutely neck and neck. Oh no, Vernax is now beginning to edge ahead of the Mercedes. And it looks like Jeff is going to have to go for a late braking move into the Rettifilo if he's going to want this position. And doesn't manage it. Well defended by the Ferrari. Wartower is pretty close to Mika's P. Oh my god, pretty close side by side. They come into the Rettifilo as well. And that is... Well, it's actually Warntire overtaking Mika's beat for 12th position. Conor McCoy we see just ahead of them. But let's jump back up to this position here. Oh my goodness, Rigor side by side with Yorkie as Rigor remains in that 5th position.
Wait, Johan is behind these again.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, hang on, someone's changed position. And he's slow. Oh. He's very slow. He's had an error. He's made an error somewhere and he's had to concede the time. So that was why he was so very slow. That's going to put him right in the classes of Vernax. We've had that combination before. Who's still fending Jeff off. So Johan's made a big mistake.
I wonder if it's another slowdown as we still get battling these 3 going at it. This is now the 2 teammates again. Look at the speed on the straight for Jorgen and a late break, but it's too late. He's gone into the gravel and a scar there, and that's going to hurt him quite a bit coming onto this straight. Andrex does stay ahead, and the Rigor takes a position as well. So Yorkie at least going to stay ahead of his championship rival Johan, who is not close enough to take advantage there, but more trouble for the veteran BMW driver. He
had no hope in hell of slowing that Beamer down from that distance. It was brave, but it was never ever going to work. But look at this train. Andrex, Rigor, Yorkie, Johan. Vernax isn't far behind with Jeff shortly in tow as well. Big old gaggle of cars as we come through for the end of lap 9.
Guaranteed. At the front though, it's a bit more spread out. 3.5 seconds between James still leading the way ahead of Hesto. And then Papsu in a no man's land in 3rd as we go small side by side. This is Jeff now, and Vernax still going at it actually. Vernax getting the upper hand on this occasion on the Mercedes.
Look who's behind them.
They had originally pulled away from Nick Meader, but it seems to be closing quite a bit back up again as a result of the continuous battling that they are exposing themselves to. All of these guys in the top 10, so I guess having a pretty solid day at work, although you'd normally expect Vernix, of course, to be higher up than 8th. He has not finished below 6th all season, but I guess there's no pressure on him. He doesn't really need any particular position.
He's here for fun.
He's here for fun, and well, he definitely can't complain of the action he's gotten so far in the race.
Oh, Rigor got all out of shape in the exit of the second Lesmo. That's surely going to hand the momentum and the position to Yorkie. He takes the inside line through that slight curve. It does actually have a name, as apparently the curve does Seraglio. I can't say it. Seraglio. That's apparently what it is, but no one ever calls it that. As he comes into the Ascari, and that is 5th position back to the M6. But look who Rigor has for company. And that is he's going to struggle to keep that Ferrari behind the way that he's been closing back in on him. But we will see. We'll see a few mistakes happen to the veterans tonight, and we'll see what happens now. Vernux is right with Nick Meader. Vernux has lost the position to the Lemon Lambo. Vernux is having a terrible time.
Oh my god, yeah, Vernux had a problem there.
I can't see any damage on his car, but he just seems to be struggling.
Again, it could be a slowdown. We've seen so many drivers so far, and there is much more than usual getting affected by these slowdown as a result of, you'd assume, cutting some corners a little bit too much. But it's good that the game does seem to,
it's much more. It's much more strict in Picard's 2 than it was in 1. It was horrifically inconsistent in the first one, as Vernux and Nick Meader get very close again as they come into Retifilia. But this gaggle of cars, 4, 5, 6 and 7, closing up again. This battle is by no means over. The two BMWs squaring off as the Mercedes and Ferrari are also resuming their battle. So we'll see what happens there. Like I said, Vernux and Nick Meader close together. Mick is being watertight. Oh!
I was just jumping over the sausage gun. Very...
That's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Nismo has also got himself a penalty, I've just noticed. Nismo is close to Morvik in the second line modes. So we have a 1, a 4, a 2 and a 1. On the penalty scale. Ooh, Nismo looked like he got a little bit out of shape there. So yeah, there are still plenty of battles going on as we jump back up to this quartet. Well, the quartet splitting off into 2 pairs now. Yorkie is really piling the pressure on his teammate. Oh, you saw Yuhan getting very twitchy on the entrance of Ascari. It does look like he's got the pace of the Mercedes, but he can't use it. Ooh, he ran the risk of running too wide and getting a slowdown penalty there. It looks like he's gotten away with it, or he's simply ignoring it if he did get one. And again, look how the Mercedes is able to power ahead enough to keep the Ferrari at bay. Oh, goodness me, we saw this at Imola where the Mercedes was just able to power through, and Ferrari had a lovely switch back on the Ferrari, but on the Mercedes. But is he going to be able to maintain it? That's going to be the question as we switch to on board. Wrong one. Look at that again. It's the same as we saw in Imola, as the two BMWs are side by side with one another. Andrex is on the inside. Yorkie's got the beg pardon. Yorkie's on the inside. Just keep getting these the wrong way around. Yorkie now back ahead of Andrex, and that is 4th position.
Yes, indeed, and it does look like Rhaegar has kept ahead of Yuhan as well. So suddenly it's Yorkie in the driving seat for second place in the championship. This is going back and forth there. Yuhan, the man most frustrated at the moment, and I think these guys might as well continue battling each other because the gap up to the top 3 at the moment is a very, very huge 7 seconds from Yorkie up to Popsu. So it looks like we have a settled top 3, and out of those 3, it's only Popsu who has won a race before. He's got 1 win this season. That was at Algarve, and James and Hester though could both get their first win in the league. As
Rigel got a bit out of shape on the exit of the Del Loggia, and that's handed the position to Yuhan. So Yuhan now going to start to get interest in these two M6s. It's Andrex. He was really gaining. He actually backed out of that, it looked like.
Yeah. Finally some team orders maybe.
Yeah, so let's have enough. Had enough of that racing, Mark. I mean, we're not even halfway through the race, so I'd be surprised. Andrex obviously playing the longer game. He's a wise old head on those shoulders. So is he going to have a slipstream manoeuvre heading towards the Parabolica? It doesn't look like he's staying line astern with his team at the moment. My God, that's close. There's less than 2 tenths separating them at the braking zone. But I think Andrex brakes a little bit earlier than Yorkie. Yorkie's got... Oh, they're following actually nearly identical lines. We get back on board with Andrex. He's absolutely following the tyre tracks perfectly. Now he's going to go for the slipstream. Going to jump to the inside. He's going to push him. He's going to push him. Why not?
Very interesting team tactics there.
Why not? So Yorkie Andrex not going for the move, interestingly. I thought he was going to throw it on the inside into the Retivideo, but decided against it. Rigor still right with Yuhan, as we can see. Yuhan's having to play the defensive game more than he would like. And that's Rigor having to go on the outside of Curva Grande, but that's not going to earn him any momentum, I don't think. Oh, hello! Oh, me of little faith on that move, but look how much later the Ferrari got on the brakes. This is Imola all over again.
It really is, yeah. It's unbelievable. Since the Ferrari having to do it on the brakes.
Oh, hello! Look at the background. There's Nick Meadow. Sorry to cut you off there. But Nick Meadow was actually side by side with Vernux.
So Vernux, Vernux dropping back down again. Obviously, battling with that Lemon Lambo once again, and. Lambo losing out though, but I'm sure he won't mind having a bit of back and forth with the champion.
Indeed. So back up to Rigor, who is nailed to the back of Yuhan's Ferrari, and Andrex nailed to the back of his teammate. That's battle still got some leg. That's actually Popsy you see in the foreground there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a while. We've just lost someone from the order. We're now down to 18. I'm trying to figure out who we've lost.
Because the top 10
no. I don't think it was. I'm trying to figure out who it is. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at remembering the list when we start.
Out. I'm not sure if he was out.
No, I think he was out a while ago.
Yeah.
So indeed, down to 18. Apologies, I can't identify who that is. We lost the black McLaren earlier on. That was Junior. I think we lost him quite a while back.
Yeah.
No, it's not Jeff Brownski, although Jeff has now earned himself a penalty. That's the fifth penalty on the board.
We've lost Junior, Gronstra and Stu. I think those are the only three.
Yes, because we started with 21 and now down to 18. So, not sure which one just dropped out. So Jeff has now earned himself a small penalty, I think. Yep, 2 seconds for him. Warntire's now built his up to 7. Again, these can be contested post-race. These additional time penalties, so we'll see. Looks like these two BMWs are really pulling away from the Ferrari-Mercedes combination behind, and that's not going to help Rigor because Jeff is closing right in on them.
Yes, indeed, yeah, and Yuan, of course, you'd expect he would want to get back up to these BMWs again, but finally these guys, Yorkie and Andrex, are working well together now that Andrex is sitting behind and even pushing Yorkie occasionally on this way to give him some extra speed, and as we said, I wonder if they're just thinking of the championship in Yorkie's favour here, or if they're just saving the harder battling for a bit later in the race when, they might have secured, the position they are in, instead of having to worry about someone else catching them with a long time to go. And on that point as well, I can't believe we're only 14 laps in. Still 20 to go here. There's been so much going on so far.
Well, let's have a check-in on where everybody is. James has been our leader throughout, our pole sitter, and I would imagine he's the fastest lap holder as well, but he's maintained 148. Oh, just like that was commentator's curse. He got slightly twitching on the exit Reddit video. He's still got 4.5 seconds down, and that, you can see, I would imagine, is Rito. Yes, that's Rito, who's down in 17th. That's about to have a lap put on him. Hesto is in second in the Mercedes. And Klaas is in the pit, and he is out. We have lost another from this race. Well, that puts the one person that had the timing bag out of the equation at least. Popsu in third position. He trails Hesto by only about 2 seconds, so one mistake will put those two in each other in combat once more. Yorkie currently leads the two M6s, who have been locked in battle pretty much all race long. Leads Andrex in 5. Yuhan has not yet broken away from the Mercedes of Rigor in 7th. Jeff, you can see in the background there in the black Mercedes, he's closed in actually by about 6/10 on the two ahead. So at that rate, he will be with them very, very soon. Vernux, our new champion, is in 9th position with the Lemon Lambo of Nick Meadow in 10th, shortly behind Colonel McCoy in the Minty Falcon BMW. Is in 11th. Warntyre, we saw having a good old battle with his teammate earlier on, but now actually has Nismo down there. So Nismo started very well. He was up to 3rd, but had a big error earlier on. And as Clarkson has actually left us left the server. I saw the names blink there. I was figuring out who had moved. Nismo there in 13th position. Mickersby shortly behind in 14. Morvik in the black Lamborghini there in 15th position. Andreas Hayder barely haven't really seen him all race long. There he's in 16th, and Rilo, as just mentioned, is about to have a lap put on him. There is race leader James about to lap it, and it looks like Popsu and Hesto are about to get into battle. Are they 1.5 between them? But the lead battle, as far as how close they are, is still these two, Andrex and Yorkie.
Just touch on Nismo briefly, down in 13th. Obviously, he was close to his teammate after he had his issue, but I think it might be fair to say that he probably has a bit of damage, as having lost 11 seconds after obviously out-qualifying Vernox and having better pace in qualifying. But yeah, he seems to be dropping down a bit at this point. Also, a bit of a tyre discussion going on in the chat, I see. Macy clearly not a fan of the soft tyres. I'm not sure. We can't really tell what tyres these are on, I think.
There wasn't talk about using the soft tyres, but by and large, the soft tyres in GT3 surroundings just don't work. But the lower temperatures that Night provides may have offered benefit. Oh my goodness me, that's Johan and Johan and Rigor getting very interested.
Ahead of him.
He is. I think Johan made a mistake into the Del Roggio, which actually allowed the white Mercedes through, which saw Rigor going very, very wide. I think it was an avoidance tactic on the red Ferrari. Jeff's getting very interested, and not far behind is the combination of Vernox and Nick Meadow. So we've got a 5-car train forming here, and we still haven't hit halfway.
We still have not. I mean, Johan just cannot get away from Rigor as Popsu.
Sorry, the exclamation mark popped up on my screen of Popsu and Hesto.
Yeah, well, he's getting pretty close to Hesto. That's over a second now.
He was half a second quicker was Popsu than Hesto last time around. So again, James is backing off the pace a little bit. He's got a 5-second cushion. He doesn't need to push too hard, and he is working his way through back markers. So he can just relax a little bit, although with that last lap with a 48.6, 49.0 for Hesto and a 48.9, so only a tenth in it. Not even a tenth in it, 200ths in it between Popsu and Hesto. Oh, Nick Meadow getting very wide, but Vernox is on Jeff's case. So the Ferrari is now engaging with the Merc. That's for 8th position.
Yeah, Jeff's been pulling away, of course, with Vernox having an issue, but Vernox closing back in now.
He gained nearly 2 seconds that last lap.
Wow, that's incredible pace from the new champion of the league. Bit of a gravel for his right side tyres there, so it can help. But yeah, these guys have gone at it throughout the race, so let's see if Vernox can mount another challenge for 8th place there.
Johan and Rigor still locked in battle. You've actually just seen them go out the shot. There they are, the Ferrari behind the Mercedes at the moment. Yorkie seems to have backed off a bit from his teammate. Andrex has backed off from his teammate. About 2 seconds, just under 2 seconds, separating their last lap time. Oh, you see, I think Rigor got very out of shape on the first Esmo. Through on the inside goes the Ferrari, but again, here is the Mercedes going to power back? Not from that far. But it just does look like the Johan cannot power away from that Mercedes, exactly as we saw in Imola. So, as Andreas Hayder is coming to the pits, is that the end of his race? No, not yet at least. So the Kaspersky-Keller Ferrari. Andrex has himself a penalty as well. Oh dear, he's got himself a 1 second penalty, which is that going to affect him? Not yet. That a 1 second penalty will not affect his position at the moment. BMWs are still fairly close though, although Andrex does seem to be slightly off the pace of his teammate. Rigor having a look. Johan's got ahead of the Mercedes. Yes, we saw that just a moment ago. So it looked like the Mercedes trying to have a go at him before Parabolica. It didn't quite come off, but now it's going to be the opportunity for the white Merc to have a go at the Ferrari, deploy those extra horses to see.
It's deja vu for Johan. You of course remember he was one of the ones most badly affected at Imola when the Mercedes were constantly powering past him, and it's the same story. He just can't do anything. He can pass and then the straight arrives and the Mercedes is back ahead.
Rigor very nicely parks it on the apex there. Colonel McCoy now comes in the Falcon BMW, so I'm sure what he's coming in for, of course. Probably damage.
All the pit stops so far have been damage related. But McCoy didn't see any visual damage on this car, so I wonder. I mean, Mason mentioned in the chat that he heard that there might be some soft strategies, although we haven't seen scheduled pit stop pretty much all season, so I would be a little bit surprised. But we are now at
halfway.
pretty much the halfway point. So if you were to make a scheduled pit stop for tires, then this would at least be the time to do it.
That's a lot. That was quite a long time for tyres, so there was probably some damage mixed in there as well. So back into this position. Oh, here we go again. And in the slipstream, the Ferrari can do nothing. You weave around all you like, but if you're not gaining on the car ahead of you, it is going to do you nothing. Vernox and Jeff are equally close, and they are gaining, I think, on the Ferrari-Mercedes combination ahead of them.
Yeah, indeed. It could turn into a four-way scrap because Johan isn't able to get away from Raigor, so he's basically running the pace of the Mercedes at the moment, and that is allowing Jeff and Vernox to get closer. Nick Meter falling off a bit once again in that Lamborghini, and Andres actually after getting that penalty as well has dropped 3 seconds to Yorkie. So this is definitely the closest battle on the track, and once again, we're going to see Johan close to the Mercedes, but unfortunately he's on the wrong side on the straight. Even though he's got a bit of slipstream, will he be able to get him on the brakes? He's definitely trying, wiggling all over the place, and it's got to move John. Raikkonen actually backing out of it. Very late braking there for the Ferrari. Question is, does he have the pace through the corners to get enough of the gap by the time they get onto the long straights next time around?
Vernox can act as our camera car for the moment. Whoa, as Jeff gets Jeff has magically teleported behind him. Oh dear, that's Jeff gone.
Is that a disconnection?
That's a shame. Oh, look at that side by side. Oh, impact! Oh no, that's good. That's handed Vernox two easy positions. Thank you very much. I'll have that. So now it's a Ferrari battle. What a shame for that battle to end the way it did. And of course for the disconnection on Jeff there, because I think he was in line to be right in this mixture as well. That's a bit of a shame there.
Yeah, I'm not sure how clean that was, but at least it's got rid of the Mercedes in some way there.
Well, for the time being at least, yeah.
But now he's got Vernox instead.
Yeah.
Not sure if that's going to be any better. Oh, yes, it because Vernox he's braked a bit on the grass there, thinking the braking zone. Johan that's gone past. Vernox got a really poor exit. And yeah, that is sorted that one out.
I was going to see whether Vernox appeared to have a slowdown penalty. I don't think he did. I think that was just him recovering from going a little bit too deep into a scurry. So Raikkonen's still right there. So we'll see if he's able to close that gap down and resume what is now a three-way battle. One tyre is still pretty close to Nismo, pretty close in fact they're side by side, and he has gained that position. So Nismo's day's not really getting much better. We can see Mickersby in the background there. Nick Meadow is actually 7 seconds ahead of them. That's Andreas Hayder that's directly behind him on track. Nick Meadow is about 5 seconds behind the Raikkonen-Johan Vernox battle we were seeing earlier. Oh goodness me, the red Ferrari getting very interested.
I mean, Johan just keeps magically losing some time. Suddenly it's behind again, and we didn't see how, but I wonder if he also had a problem in the braking, maybe. Possibly.
Maybe that was last lap was a 151, so we will see what happens. Let's see if he's able to recover. Now on lap 20, so still 14 and a half racing laps to go. And James has lost a little bit of lead, but that could again just be him backing off and maintaining a sensible pace rather than pushing too hard, despite the fact he's still in the mid 148s. Oops, as Johan runs a little bit wide in the exit the second Lesmo. Raikkonen looked a little bit scrappy as well on that exit. This is where the Mercedes comes good. It's 3.5 seconds back to the white Merc at the moment. We come through Scurry again, and Johan has definitely lost time on the yellow Ferrari ahead. Is Vernox now going to mount a comeback charge through the field? He's got a hell of a long way to go if he's going to try. It's 24 seconds separates him in the lead.
Yeah. That sounds optimistic.
Yeah.
I think, and to be honest, he's got 10 seconds of a gap up to Yorkie now as well, so I think the hopes for second in the championship even are fading rapidly after all the battling with Raikkonen.
One position change we did miss is this one for second. Popsu's actually claimed that blue Mercedes, and that's moved Popsu up to second position, but Hesse is not giving that one a go.
He's had a 150.9 on the previous lap, so he's definitely had a problem there. But he's going to try to get it back though, with a good run. Of course, another Mercedes against a Ferrari, and Popsu has got the best of it. Weston nearly turning it in there. Backs out just in time. That's going to lose him time on the exit. So Popsu is through into second place. Can he find the pace to charge down James? 6 seconds. They had a very similar lap time last time round.
Now, I wonder whether Hester was going to go for the switchback, but he tried to get into it too early, and he realised he was going to slam into the back of Popsu. That would have spun him out. So, very good awareness then by the Blue Mercedes. In the background there, you see Yorkie, who's now about 3.5, 4 seconds ahead of his teammate. So, Yorkie is free to push, and he's doing 1:48.6. That's actually the same as the leader. So, that was he gained about 2.3 last time around. Could he close that in? Well, yeah, he could do if he's able to close in that much gap each lap. You just actually saw James disappear out of the out the bottom of the shot there. So it's the first time we've seen James in about 5 laps.
Yeah. Well, James is the man of the race so far, despite us not having seen him. But of course, the only reason we haven't seen him is because his pace has been quite fabulous so far. He's been running away at the front while everyone else pretty much have had at least some battling going on.
Pretty much everybody, bar James, has had someone to fight all race long. And again, you're seeing the Mercedes having a look on the inside at race video, but again, he's a little bit too far back to try that. But we are seeing the speed difference between the Mercedes and the Ferrari again. Just looking at the lap times, 48.4 by James, so he's not happy to sit there and let the lap times sort themselves out. That was 1.1 he put on Popsu that time. Yorkie did gain. He gained just under a second, actually, on these two. But he still finds himself around about 8 seconds down. So he's got a fair gap to close back, but a second a lap, he could do it. He has been on the podium before this season.
Yes, of course, yeah.
So Rygor's had a problem. He's in the clutches of the Lemon Lambo.
Interesting, yes. Instead of catching back up to you and after that incident earlier, he is now falling it back a bit.
Johan had a 1:53 as well.
Yeah, he's got a really poor lap last time out, so he's dropped 3 seconds of Bernax actually. Rygor also not with the best lap, 50.8. That's also slower than what you expect as a dress hater.
Yeah, getting out of shape.
I was a little bit out of shape, yeah.
Just a tad at Del Roggio. Nismo and Warntire are in their battle. This is for the final of the top 10 positions. Yeah, respective Ferraris. It's gotten very, very dark now. You have to identify the livery. You have to really wait for them to be under the actual track lights.
Is it ×2 time progression, isn't it? So
I think it. I believe so. I didn't actually check before we came into the session.
I believe it is. So the race start, of course, in game was at 10 p.m. So by the end, we'll be at midnight here. So as dark as it's going to get.
Well, it's a great way of spending a night.
Yeah, definitely is. I wouldn't mind just driving some lovely GT cars from Monza at any time of the day, really.
Oh, James has had a problem. He's done a 150 and he's lost 2 seconds on Popsu.
Oh, that's kind of the opposite of what we wanted, but at least that allows Popsu to focus on his pace. And actually, no, yeah, I thought you said so. Okay, James has lost. Okay, that's what. That is a little bit closer to Battle for the Lead then.
Ooh.
Actually.
And he was a little bit scruffy actually through Del Roggio, so easy. And Popsu's left Hester behind. Look at that. You see Popsu in the background there. He's got 2 seconds on Hester, so either Popsu's just come alive in this second phase of the race, or Hester may have a little bit of damage, although 49.7 is not a bad lap. Like Yorkie 48.3. By the M6, he is on a charge. He's got 6 seconds to close down, and if Hesto is struggling, Yorkie is going to be on that podium, in a podium position within the next, within the next 6 laps.
Indeed, yeah. Yorkie seems to have really found a rhythm now. He's gone away from his teammate. Doesn't have to worry about him anymore. Nearly 6 seconds between them, and I guess Yorkie won't mind just running a nice and calm race until the end, but of course he will maybe be pushing, seeing that Hesto has dropped a little bit of time in the recent laps as well. Be interested to see now the pace at the front. I feel like Popsu has closed even more.
He has.
Nearly down to 3 seconds now between the two guys at the front. James going to cross the line in just a second. He's going to do a 1:49.4. So that is definitely worse pace than what
48.1.
48.1. That's probably the fastest lap I've seen all race long. So
was certainly
indeed on fire.
And Hesto was a 150. Let's see what Yorkie does. 48.6. So yeah, that's about 5.5 when and a Yorkie trot. I'm always saying Antrex when I see that white. Very disingenuous to Yorkie there. But yeah, so that was about 5.5 when Yorkie crossed the line to Hesto. So Yorkie is on a flyer, but Popsu, he's got his eyes on the prize. At that rate, he'll be with James very, very soon.
Yeah, I think the closest battle on track though is Brago and Nick Meadow. Their Delta's looking very close, and they just swapped around as well into the braking zone for the first corner. Nick Meadow has taken P8 now in the race. Of course, he has a penalty, so at the moment he still needs to pull a gap potentially if that penalty still remains, but he's got the position on the track at the moment over the Mercedes AMG. So that's going to be another battle to look out for. Of course, we know that Brago has the immense straight line speed. Haven't had a comparison against the Lambo so far. I think he just backed out on this occasion, as Lambo places his car in the middle of the track, forcing Brago to basically just stay behind, know where he could go. So yeah, Nick Meadow having a solid race there in the Lamborghini up to 8th, which would be, I believe, his best result of the season. It would indeed open the season in 9th, but that's the best he's got so far.
That's certainly the most airtime that we've given the Lemon Lambo this season.
I don't mind.
I was going to say, I'm sure you're quite happy with that. It doesn't look like, look at that! The Lemon Lambo is already a second ahead, so Rigor is sporting a problem, damage on the Mercedes perhaps. I mean, Nick Meadow was half a second faster than Rigor. We've seen how much pace is in that Mercedes before, so I think Rigor's got himself some damage. It's difficult to tell in the dark, but I reckon he's had an argument with something or someone. More than maybe someone. The walls don't tend to be very forgiving. James has got some pace back, as both James and Pops are standing at 403. We've lost Claessens. Claessens has... Oh no, Claessens went a while ago.
Oh, we're down to 15 all of a sudden.
Yes. No, we lost Claessens a while ago. Who have we just lost?
We did, yeah.
Someone near the back, I think.
Yeah, definitely no one in the top 9 at least. That's looking good. Nismo's 10th, Mickey's B 11th. Mobico McCoy, real
one tyre. It's one tyre's gone.
One tyre is gone.
Yes. So no idea what happened to him. We didn't see that. Look at the laps there. 151 for Rigor. We didn't see a particular mistake on his part, so he is struggling out there. Unless it could be that maybe he's running the softer tyre and he hasn't changed and the tyres are dead, but I'm more inclined to think he's had an argument with something.
Could well be. So yeah, 15 drivers remaining. We're basically down to a console grid.
Yeah.
So at least in console terms, at least we're pretty much full grid at the moment.
Yep.
So let's roll with that. And yeah, Rigor trying to fight back against Nick Meadow, but the Lamborghini has got good pace, at least compared to him at the moment. And Johan is still in no man's land. Vertex is in no man's land, but Alex is in no man's land. You're okay in no man's land.
Pretty much everybody is. I've got no exclamation marks across the board, so no one is within. I think it's a second when that exclamation mark pops up. The only one that keeps popping up is that one, which is Rigor and Nick Meadow, which will pop up, I think, on the straight, but it seems to be the corners where Rigor is desperately struggling, which are, of course, not many in Monza, but there is enough that if you're sporting damage of some description, as we see, I think it's Vernax getting close to what must be Relo, so a bit of lap on him. The red Ferrari will, or should, dutifully get out of the way. Vernax will pick up a bit of slipstream as well. Why not? Perfectly entitled to.
Sure, he doesn't mind. And the Relo gets out of the way before the corner. There he goes.
Yeah, the only one in the top 6 that didn't set a 148 was actually Andrex. So I wonder if Andrex is sporting a problem as well, because he's been off the pace of his teammate. Actually, ironically, since that bump draft. So I wonder if he actually caused himself damage as a result of nudging his teammate there. That would be a little bit ironic. Fairly consistent laps actually across the board. And it is, as I say, the closest one we've got is coming back here to Rigor, and even that's already 2 seconds. So, and their lap times was actually 2/10 to Rigor there. So Nick Meadow was able to leg it away from the Mercedes when he needs to, and say that'll be a pretty solid 8th position. But if Johan is losing time, it's Johan! He's in trouble. He's lost it at Del Rogia, so he's lost 2 positions there. He's now down to 9th, so that's 7th for Nick Meadow. I was just
got such good pace, but he just can't keep his car straight.
no. Yeah, a track like Monza, there's less corners to worry about. You would think it would be easy to do, but because there's less corners, you're kind of tempted to push that little bit too hard because you're trying to be quick all the time. I don't discount a battle for the lead because that's still. I mean, they've been pretty even. 48-2 for James, 48-1 again for Popsu. So it's very close. At that rate, he won't catch James. But we've seen mistakes up and down the field. So don't rule out a battle for the lead just yet.
Yeah, it's got 8 laps then remaining in the race, including the one they just started. And I think it's fair to say it's definitely calmed down a bit from those really incredible first 10-15 laps that we had.
Absolutely.
Some of the most intense battling we've seen all season, I think. But now, I think they are ready for a bit of a break.
Let's have a look at penalties then. So Andrix on 1, Nick Meader on 1, Johan on 6, Nismo on 7, Ken McCoy on 3, and Andreas Hayder on 4. So not massive penalties we're seeing.
Yeah, the only one affected, I think it was position at the moment, would be Nick Meader, who is. Oh no, actually, yeah. I thought
what was Nick's?
No, he's actually Breaker, and Johan 1 second above.
Yeah, Nick's is only 1, so no, he won't lose that position. Not at the moment, anyway. Yeah, 158 by Johan as we saw that big spin from him and the Darlogia. But yeah, 151 from Rigor. You could argue he was put off maybe a little bit by that spinning Ferrari, but he's got damage on the Mercedes, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I would imagine so, because he was definitely running much better pace earlier on in the race, unless his tyres have just gone somehow. Maybe it's on a set of softs that he's just wearing out, but you would still imagine after how the season's gone so far that the majority would be on the hard tyres. Of course, the colder weather is what puts a question mark over that statement. But James and Popsu still the guys to beat, and the gap, unfortunately, for us isn't really changing. Popsu's going to put in. Oh, so close to getting into the 47s.
2 thousandths off. So again, he's gained just shy of a 10, 98 thousandths of a second. He's just gained. But, I mean, as it's still 3.5 or there, just under now, between the two Ferraris at the front. So it is going to take a mistake. Hesto 150, Yorkie 148. So that's given, hello, that's given 2 seconds to Yorkie. He's only got another 3 to get. And that Mercedes is going to be in his grasp. So we could potentially see a battle for the lead. But it's also likely we're going to see a battle for the last podium spot.
And Yorkie is so consistent at the moment. Last few laps, he's just always in the mid-48s. It's not quite the pace, ultimate pace of the top 2, but it's still very, very strong. And he seems to be the one that is just not making any mistakes, unlike many others that we've seen, of course, in the field so far. And less than 3 seconds now. Yorkie is eyeing up a third, I think, podium of the season.
It will be, yeah, because he's done a third, and he did a second at Brands. He did a third in, well, I was going to say Imola, but no, he was 7th or 8th there. So, yeah, that'll be, he will happily take that, and he's certainly got the pace to do it as they come through Ascari again. And that's just dipped under 2 seconds, actually. Just under 2 seconds.
Yeah, he's
he's had a slowdown. He's had a slowdown penalty.
Parabolic is definitely going to get past him, but surely he's going to do it in the braking zone, though. They're going to slow us into Parabolic, but finally we got some battling again. Hesto actually stays ahead, but Yorkie on the much wider line. He's got too wide, in fact. But he's going to get that slipstream on the Mercedes. Will the BMW have the pace on Hesto to get close to him in the braking zone for turn 1? Slipstream enabled, and here we go. He's closing now. Hesto's shoulder's going to have to go defensive unless he's brave on the brakes on the outside, and he's confident that he can hold it around the side. But Yorkie goes up the inside for the podium position, takes it, turns it to the apex, no mistake there, and Hesto has been demoted. Yorkie up to bad.
But it all comes down to, we have a 47 on the board. Popsu has just gained 6/10 from James, so he is on a charge once again. I think James may have either caught traffic or just didn't push hard enough. So again, it's possible. And there's Hesto having a look on the inside of the BMW. He's a little bit too far back. He's not going to try it into Darlogia. But Hesto is wanting that podium position back. Is he got the ultimate pace for it? We've seen how fast those Mercedes are. Can Yorkie sprint away and get... Oh, Nismo had a 2-minute lap there. So he's made a big mistake. He's now down to 10th position. So Nismo not having a good day. But then he's been having a pretty bad day from a few laps in. All as Hesse runs wide. Yorkie's nearly got a second on him already.
Yeah. That's the thing. Hesse, of course, qualified second. So the ultimate pace of his car and his setup and his driver is definitely there, but I feel like it's dropped pace gradually throughout the race here. So it's definitely the race pace is lacking a little bit in terms of keeping it up throughout an entire hour of racing.
Indeed. They head on down to Parabolica. That's still 7/10 between the BMW and the Mercedes. And you would think that if Hester was going to gain, it would be on that big straight heading down to Parabolica. It would certainly be on the start-finish straight, on the roof of the Merc. And he's just got nothing on that BMW. Absolutely no answer. Again, a 48.5, 49.5. A second difference between the two. So, of course, we did see both of the top two sitting in 1:48.1. Just 9 thousandths between the two. James now beginning to get the hammer down again, as we have 5 laps to go here at Monza.
5 laps to go. It's as well of season 8 on Project 2. Of course, there will surely be a season 9 as well, for those wondering in the chat. Not quite sure on dates and stuff at the moment. Of course, once the season's ended, all the coordinators will get together, analyze the how it's gone, what's gone well, what could get better. I'm sure the drivers will all give feedback as well.
It's usually about 6 weeks or so. Is it not usually about 6 weeks, give or take? I mean, we've got Christmas coming up, of course, but it is normally between 6 and 8 weeks from when the season ends to when the sign-up threads go out for the following season. So that'll put us sort of end of January time for when the feelers will go out for the following season.
Sometimes during January, I would say, at least. Obviously a very wide age range you got there, but I would say sometimes during January, once all the Christmas stuff has settled down.
Andrex is still pushing. He's actually did a 48.6 last time around, but he is 7 odd seconds back from Hesto. 1.5 seconds now between the top between these two. So Yorkie, assuming he doesn't make any mistakes, is comfortably on the podium there. He's checking where our leaders are. James is coming across the line. 48.6 for you. Popsu has made a big mistake somewhere, because he's now 7 seconds down. And a 52. Indeed. Oh, Colonel McCoy, hello. He's suddenly gotten company. He's got Morvik for company. That was the first exclamation mark I've actually seen pop up in quite a while, with the exception of Yorkie and Hesto. So the Black Lambo has got some...
Interestingly, the Black Lambo, of course, Morvik changed to that car before this race. Wasn't happy with the McLaren he was driving with, clearly. He dropped 5 points as a result of doing so. And at the moment he's just supposed to get those 5 points back.
Excellent. Oh, well, that was a fairly safe bet. Actually, it looks like Morvik's having trouble with that Lambo at the moment. He did 49.2 last time, and Reload is in the pits again. That's surely him out. With that's not looking nice. He's had an argument with the wall somewhere. He's going to be in there a while, I suspect.
It's a shame for Reload, not a good way to end the season. It was already lapped, of course. He's definitely completed enough for the race to get points for what will now be 15th place after Andreas Hayder has gone past him.
Colonel McCoy's claimed that 12th position from Morvik. It's actually nice to be able to read the position boards and know they're all correct. Yeah. That's actually quite nice. Actually, that's the race leader James coming up behind them.
Oh, and speaking of James, he's got a much bigger gap now to Popsu, who's finally, after all those impressive laps of pushing at such a good pace, getting into that 47 as the only man in the race. He has now done a 152.9 and definitely had a problem there.
And someone asking in chat, why aren't there any R8s? It's because Maisie, our sole Audi R8 representative, chose to sit this one out to be with his newborn. Absolutely no problem with that. So yeah, that was a 48.7 for James, 49.8 for Popsu. So Popsu is either just backing off, and there are 3 laps to go.
Actually, just looking a bit further down, actually, at Andrex and Bernex, I think Andrex has got that 1 second of penalty, doesn't he? He has to be careful now, because the gap isn't much more than 2 seconds.
Yeah, it is indeed just a single second for Andrex.
Yeah. but he needs to be careful. You can see the Ferrari just about in the top of the screen there.
Yeah, Vernax. He gained 1.3 last time, and at that rate, he will leapfrog the BMW, whether he passes him on track or not.
Yes, indeed, of course. Vernax surely does not know that Andrex has got that 1 second. I don't think he does anyway, unless the display that the drivers see actually tells of the penalties, which I can't quite remember actually.
Not being a driver, I couldn't tell you that one. So having never taken part in a GT3 race, I would be in the category below amateur if I did. So,
well, I kind of hope that it doesn't tell him, because so then if he does get up to Andrex, he'll at least try to pass him.
Oh, well, yes. Yeah, we'll have a battle in the closing stages. So, there is James. There he is on the straight heading down towards the Parabolica. Conor McCoy ahead of him will not put up much resistance. And that behind is Morvik in the black Lamborghini. And there in the background there is Popsu. Yorkie is closing on Popsu, but not enough to challenge for second position, to match is what I believe is certainly his season best. Is it his career best? I think his second his best ever result.
I
believe so.
I feel like he's had one win, maybe.
I thought it was mentioned that the second was his best ever result. Oh, Popsy's in! Popsy's in the pits!
Oh.
Popsy's out! Oh my goodness me, from second, Popsy's retired! What the heck happened there?
That's the way fuel.
He didn't hit anything, so I'm assuming he must have done. Maybe that's why he was backing off, because he's running, sucking the tank dry.
Alright, so Yorkie is going to match his best result.
He is!
Lansky's just confirmed, yeah. Second, he's done a second earlier in the season, of course, 2 weeks ago, and he's going to do one again here, as a result of Popsy's very mysterious retirement.
And that, it's got to be that. Puts Nick Mito in 6th. That is his best of the season.
Yeah. Wow. The Lambo in P6.
The lemon Lambo.
And Ewan's down to 9th. He's going to get 8th though.
Yep, there he is. So obviously everybody gains one. Everyone's going to get points. Even... Oh no, Popsy's not going to get points now, is he?
He will.
Oh no, yes, he will.
Because I think Andreas Hayter and Villa are both lapped, so he's going to drop no further.
Oh.
Well, he's still left to go. Maybe he drops behind.
No, because he'll drop behind. He'll drop behind unless anyone is more than 2 laps down, which this doesn't really tell us. So
yeah, he get about 2, 3, 4.
He'll get a few because he's completed over 90%. Is it?
It's a shame though. He was on 4.
Andreas Hayden.
Well, he would have jumped Johan probably for 3rd in the championship.
What a shame! What a
so yeah, he's got to remain 4th now, I think, or maybe even drop to 5th.
There's damage on Morvik's Lambo. He did a 153 last time and Rita a 155. I wonder whether he tangled, because you saw him come into the pits not too long after he passed Morvik. I wonder whether he tangled with the back marker and that threw him into the pits.
That's I wish we would have seen
that. That is bizarre. That is very bizarre. So we are on our final lap then. James has been absolutely peerless tonight. He's been unchallenged. He has got slightly under 13 seconds lead over now Yorkie in the BMW. Hesto is now obviously promoted to 3rd position in the Mercedes. Andrex, who's that next to Hesto? Oh, that's Morvik. Yeah. That's Morvik in the Lambo. Andrex is 1.4. That's getting close. No, Vernax doesn't have a penalty, does he? Andrex's penalty has not increased.
Andrex needs to stay second ahead to stay in 4th.
Well, he needs to stay. He's losing 10th because they're in the braking zone.
Yeah, he's lost it at the moment. He needs to gain time now in the second half of the lap.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all going to be what that time says when they cross the line.
Never mind. Vernax just lost some time. This is just a time battle here because Vernax just lost some time through chicane.
Absolutely. Where is James? He's heading down to... I want to keep an eye on that time gap between these two as James is heading towards the Parabolica. 1.6. Well, of course, it's going to close in, but it's where they are at the line that's really going to matter. Here he comes then.
Yes, so James is going to come around the Parabolica for the final time, and he's going to be the race winner for his first time of the season, and the final race winner of AOR PC GT3 Elite League Season 8.
I think he's happy about that.
He seems reasonably happy. Both weaving and light flashing. That's how you do it.
Here comes Yorkie then in a, albeit gifted, but still happily accepted second, and I think he's happy about it as well. Big old flash of lights, and why the devil not? Hesto in the Mercedes comes across the line in third, but Vernox is down to 3 seconds. He's lost time. He's made a mistake. I wonder if he's crossed the line, had to slow down after Ascari. We've seen so many drivers have to do that tonight. Andrex rounds out the. He just missed out on the podium. He's in 4th. Vernox, our new champion, actually gets 5th position. I mean, considering he was in 10th for a while, that's a pretty amazing comeback. Nick Mito in 6th position in the Lemon Lambo. He'll be quite happy with that. Let's see if is he going to smash into anybody? As we we see donuts going on.
This is the season-ending donuts celebrations.
Yeah. Well, they don't need the cars anymore. They can set fire to them as Morvik is now reversing along the track. Rigor across the line in 7th. I don't think he's going to be too happy about that, but for whatever reason he had to slow down. Yuhan, what could have been for the red Ferrari, comes across the line in 9th. Here is Nismo coming around Parabolica with Mickersby in short succession, 2 seconds behind him, rounding up the top 10. Oh dear, Nismo has had a pretty disastrous day here in Monza. Colonel McCoy has already crossed the line, so Colonel McCoy is classed as 11th. Morvik 12, still reversing. He's coming through the barricades and smashes into somebody.
Lambo collision.
Reno is in a pretty battered Ferrari, but he is a lap down. Andreas Hayder, boing! Why not? Why not? And it's good to see that you actually have the opportunity to do this. Popsy is actually classified on the listing as 15th, so those that obviously those that were laps behind him have had a chance to unlap themselves. So
guys, for a race or a season teammate picture, perhaps, I don't know. Oh, that's someone hiding very much in the dark there. Definitely playing hide and seek, I think
that's Hesto that's having a good old time there. Yeah, one of the yellow Ferraris is dead.
That's fair enough.
Oh, why not?
It doesn't need to be undead anymore. It's the end of the season.
It has served its purpose.
Yep. So here we go. These are the final results of Season 8. James takes his first win in the league. Very impressive drive. Didn't have to battle anyone. Just a really good pace for him. Yorkie up to 2nd, of course, after Popsy, which has been confirmed. He has to join the chat, and it was indeed as a result of fuel. He added 10 liters too little fuel to his car. So that's, of course, a very unfortunate mistake there to make. Success. His pace was looking very good. The only man to get into the 147s on a lap time in the race. So Yorkie's going to get that. His joint best result in the league. Hesto stays then on the podium after all. Andrex in 4th, Vernox in 5th after having secured the championship last week. Nick Mito in the Lambo best P6. And then Rhaegar Yuhan didn't have the best race, really. Didn't get the result that it paced, would have warranted. Had quite a few problems throughout. Mickey's B into the top 10 in the end in 9th. Nismo in 10th. Cole McCoy, Morvik, Rilo. Andreas Hayder pops to drops down to 15th, and Wantar is actually still in the lobby, it would seem. But that is
interesting. Yeah. And he managed to accrue up 13 seconds worth of penalties, but he left on lap 23, so that's fairly academic anyway. What a way to see out the season.
Indeed it was, yeah. The first 10 laps at least was just some of the greatest battling I've seen in the league, I think. There was just
we had that quite a few times as well, for at least half the races in the season, which, okay, we're only 3, but even still, we had at least 3 races where the initial battling that goes on at the beginning of the race took a long time to disperse, and that was fantastic to see.
It really was, yeah. It's definitely what we want. As Project Cars has kicked us out of the lobby, which means it's probably about time to wrap up. Are we...
Is anyone in Discord for us to talk to?
Anyone in an interview mood is the question. I haven't done too many interviews this season, which is, I don't know. Is this the result of drivers being a bit shy, or is it the result of me being just very tired all the time? I don't know.
Well, I mean, we can leave them to their celebrations.
Yeah. I think that's fair enough. We already heard from Vernox. No, we didn't actually hear from Vernox last week when he won the championship. Because he had already left Discord by then.
Yes, he had.
I assume then he didn't want to be heard from. But of course we talked to him earlier in the season. Well, I'll leave it quickly. If anyone of the drivers in the stream chat at the moment do really want to have a quick chat before we go, then feel free to. Otherwise, we're probably going to wrap it up very shortly indeed. But yeah, as you said, it was a really good race, and as has been the case so often, lots of battling at the start, a bit of a dead period, and then it starts kicking off again right at the end. That was no different today.
My personal feeling on how this season has gone, it has been, certainly from our perspective, it has been pretty damn exciting. I've thoroughly enjoyed commentating on the elite tier for Apex Online Racing. It's a great honour to be in the commentary box alongside the Lord of AOI himself, Mr. Fizzy. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, good sir.
No problem indeed. You have definitely very much earned it, I would say.
Thank you kindly. And overall, I think it's been quite a good success. Ferrari heavy field, I think, was anticipated at the beginning of the season, and then the patch apocalypse happened. Few people asking, am I streaming tomorrow's race? At the moment, I can't confirm whether I am streaming the endurance race tomorrow. I will try to. It's a little bit dependent on my family situation, but if I am, it'll be on my channel, Ranger Carrot 1980. So head on over there. I'll keep an eye on that if I am streaming that. But yes, it's been great fun having the opportunity to stream the elite guys. No one is hopping over to the Ready to Interview channel, so I'm assuming that people wanted to be left alone. Yeah, great. I mean, and what we've also seen is it hasn't just been complete Ferrari dominance. Yes, Ferrari has taken the championship, and yes, Ferrari has claimed the most wins, but they generally had to fight their way there. It's always the next one down hasn't always been another. It's not like Ferrari, and then everybody else. It's they've really had to fight for it, which has been great to see.
Yeah, and Yorkie, of course, in the BMW, getting second place in the championship. So just to confirm quickly, we can work with that. Obviously, we don't have live updating standings there, because I always do my standings in Photoshop, and of course the standings on the website needs to also be filled in to the spreadsheet. But Verdix, we know, has won the championship. Yorkie has claimed second with a very solid second place also in the race. Today, Johan did finish 9th in the race. He was 3rd, and he would have been jumped by Popsu if Popsu had finished where he was. But with Popsu running out of fuel, I think Johan actually is going to keep hold of that 3rd. Hesto was 15 points behind Popsu going into today's race, and Hesto scored for 3rd, so Hesto actually is going to jump Popsu.
All down to the wire.
7 points. So that went very much down to the wire, and all as a result of that, of course, unfortunate miscalculation on Popsu's behalf there. So yeah, Popsu drops down to 5th then in the championship. Hesto up to 4th. Maisie might keep hold of 6th despite not racing today. Actually, he will not. Oh, James was in 8th. He won the race. He's going to pick up a lovely 35 points, and 36 even with the pole. So that's going to put him from 55 to 80, to 91 even. Which is also going to be above Popsu. Wow. I think, Popsu down to 6th then. Maisie to 7th. Stu... going to drop to Andrex. I think, this is hard to work out on the fly, really. I think Andrex might be 8th or 7th or around about there. And then, Nismo in the top 10 as well. Obviously, very much ups and down. He's DNF'd half of the races this season, and it's had pretty solid result where he's been on the podium as well. Jeff said a lot of DNFs. Could have gotten more out of it as well. Yeah, it's been ups and down. Nick Mito, unfortunately, I don't think he's going to gain any positions from 14th, despite finishing a very solid 6th. He might actually... do you get more than 15 points for P6? You do. You get 20. So actually, he's going to get past Wycombs, who also, unfortunately, was not able to take part today. And also past One Tower didn't finish. So Nick Mito is going to get that Lemon Lambert up to 12th in the championship. And then the further guys down are way too close on points for me to be able to look at it.
I can't wait for Season 9. I look forward to being in the commentary box once again. I certainly am not going to be on track, because I'm nowhere near that good.
Yeah, I have, of course, raced a few seasons. The first 3 I did race in the Elite League. I am nowhere near good enough anymore in these cars. The quality has definitely gone up since those early days when I was there. That's fair to say. Team championship. Yeah, let's not work that one out. 5 aces. 5 aces have definitely won it. They had a solid gap, even though Yorex did a very good double result actually. Vernex and Nismo, I think, have done enough to keep hold of that championship as well. So well done to 5 aces there for the Season 8 championship.
But I mean, again, that came down to the wire for the team championship, and there won't be a lot in it, as there won't be very many points between those between the team championship. So fair play to them. Well done to all of our drivers throughout the season. It has been great fun commentating on you. I think now it's time to wrap it up.
Yep, indeed. So I think with all that said, Season 8 is a wrap. So thank you all who have been watching the race today and the races throughout the season. Hope you have had some fun doing so. Definitely we have had some good fun commentating on the action. As mentioned before, Season 9 informations will be coming out at some point after Christmas, you would imagine, during January. Hopefully there shall be some information after the coordinators gotten together and discuss what changes might need to be made. Obviously, you'd expect the season to at least be a little bit longer, from only 6 rounds this amount, at least up to 8 or 10. And it's been pretty solid first season, of course. Some drivers would maybe argue otherwise, but many drivers have had a good, successful season. So yeah, it's been good fun. I think we're going to wrap it up there. Lots of love flying about in the Twitch chat at the moment. It's good to see. So yeah, guys, hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks once again to KK for joining me in the books.
My honour and pleasure.
And it's been 6 good races. We will catch you again in a month or so, or a month or 2, I would say, for some more GT3 action from AOR. Thanks all for watching, and good night.
Good night.